Welcome back, everybody. This is Boredom Sated. I'm Michael.
I'm Boris.
And today, on our discussion of creatures from both Pathfinder and 5e, we're going delving into something that should not exist, something that is considered an aberration, which basically means an unnatural animal or creature that when you look at it, you're thinking, yeah, that thing shouldn't exist. So, the creature we're focusing on today is the Intellect Devourer. Now, in 5e,
Yes.
it is a creature that was basically bred by the Mind Flayers, another creature that shouldn't exist, but but it's
Yeah.
not that.
And
But
then Pathfinder 2, it's because the Mind Flayers are no longer in Pathfinder, it is bred by the Dominion of the Black, which we're
lovely.
yet to see what it is. It's
But
appeared
you
in
will. It's the thing in
any,
the
I mean,
black.
this is the only mention of it, yeah,
Wow.
that I've seen.
It's something probably that's fermenting, and they'll
Yeah.
maybe give a source book on it. Okay, so let's start with what this thing looks like. All right, this thing's hideous in both editions. It's basically, imagine a brain, a brain with uh, legs, paws type of thing. It's like almost like a dog, except for the brain, for its body and head. It's quite hideous. In 5e, it is a tiny creature, so it's about the size of a small like kitten.
Right.
In
And then
Pathfinder,
Pathfinder is small, so it's the size of probably a regular dog or a cat.
yeah. Now this thing's pretty fast. It has a speed of 40, and it in 5e it has it's a CR2 creature, but that is an illusion because of its capabilities. All right, I'll start first with its Devour Intellect ability, which it can use every single round. It has a single attack, claw attack, but its Devour Intellect ability is its moneymaker. Now, they are ambushers. They don't want to basically fight you as a if it can help it. It just wants to isolate somebody and then attack them and take them over. Now, in order to do that, it's going to use its Devour Intellect ability to cause the person to make a DC 12 Intelligence saving throw. Doesn't seem so bad, DC 12, except for the intelligence part. There are only a few classes, most notably the Wizard and the Rogue, and I think the Artificer as well, that have intelligence as one of its saving throws. Everyone else
And
is out of,
Druid.
maybe the Druid, but everyone else is out of luck. Um, in fifth edition, most of the time, intelligence is the dump stat. I mean, no one, if you don't have to use it, you only have a limited number of attribute boosts. You're gonna say, yeah, forget about intelligence. What about in Pathfinder? What does it have as its?
So in Pathfinder, actually, it's a little bit different, where it needs to kill the individual before doing the intellect devour and body thieving, and then it takes over. But as all Pathfinders, they say that because this is the beginning of the invasion of the Dominion of the Black, they usually go out into the graveyards or cemeteries, find recently deceased bodies, and take them over with that. They're also similar, just like you said. They have a high speed, but because they're higher level, they have much higher hit points. And the interesting part is they are super smart. Intelligent bonus of +5. So you're not just dealing with something that takes over and doesn't know what it's doing. You're dealing with somebody that takes over and knows exactly what it's doing because of certain other abilities that it gets when it body thieves. But we'll get to that
Yeah.
later.
In terms of intelligence, the 5e Intellect Devourer has an intelligence score of 12, and so basically it's a pretty smart animal for the most part. It's like I said, it's an ambush predator, and it's also used by the mind flayers to pull and to lure hapless parties and people into a trap with, of course, the mind flayers. So this thing, like I said, it targets intelligence. Now, the mechanics of it is like I said, DC 12 intelligence save. And if you fail, you take 2d10 psychic damage. Okay, average is 11 damage. At second level, that would be pretty bad. That would be like half the hit points of some characters. But that's not the main thing about this. If you fail that saving throw and not only take the damage, the dungeon master rolls 3d6s. If that equals or exceeds the target's intelligence, their intelligence immediately goes to 0, and they're stunned until they regain 1 point of intelligence. That's absolutely phenomenally devastating. Remember, this can be used at any level for the most part. Now, obviously, if you, even though this thing is a little bit stealthy, it has a stealth of +4. So at higher levels, obviously, you'll passive perception, you'll see it, or one of the rogue or the ranger or whatever else. If you have one in your party, they'll notice it. But if this thing could sneak by and get you alone, it'll knock your ass out. Yeah, right. And restoring 1 point of intelligence on your own is not easy.
Right. So this is it's similar in Pathfinder 2. It's very stealthy. It does about what it should do damage-wise and attack bonus-wise, but it's a master in stealth. It's a master in deception, and it's pretty much expert in all of its other skill set, which is quite impressive for an 8th level creature.
Yeah. It has how is this defenses? What if its
defenses are in line for 8th. It has a 27. Sorry, no, not 20. 26 AC, which is in line. For what you would be at about 8th level.
Any immunities?
Immunities to blind, control emotion, and possession. So nothing significant wise, combat.
Yeah. The 5th edition one is immune to just blinded, and it's resistant to basically non-magical weapons. But it has, I'm assuming the same thing with yours. It has blind sight because it has no eyes.
No, it has life sense.
Okay. So it's different strokes with different folks, but it's and it detects sentience. So it basically says any creature within 300 feet that has an intelligence of 3 or higher, regardless of interposing barrier, unless they're protected by a mind blank spell. So it can detect. It's actually makes it an incredible hunter as well. If it's right. If you're being hunted down by mind flayers, which is a very scary thought. Now,
right.
Its most devastating ability. This is the reason why it is, even though it's a CR2, it's a danger to people even 10 levels higher. Body Thief. Body Thief allows it has to be within somebody who's incapacitated humanoid within 5 feet. Okay. It automatically teleports inside your brain and inside your head. There's no saving throw against this. If you're incapacitated, you're lunch. And it eats your brain. Let me repeat that. It magically eats your brain. And then it takes over your body. It can animate your body. It knows everything you do. It knows your spells and your languages. So it instantly effectively kills you, except animates your body. Now this is its intelligence, wisdom, and charisma replace yours. So if you went out for a leak and come back a little different, it's like, hey, what happens? Like, nothing. Let's go, keep going. It can be a long-term 5th columnist in your party. It can really mess you up, especially if it hits a cleric who doesn't have. I don't think clerics have intelligence as one of their saving throws. I'm not sure about that, but I know wisdom obviously, and they might have constitution. But if it takes over someone vital like that, or haven't helped you, it takes over your tank. If it takes over your fighter in the middle of fighter, the guy's like, "Why aren't you stopping him?" It's like, I don't want to. And he's sort of
right.
It's a rough thing.
Yeah. So Pathfinder is similar, but the body has to be dead, right? And then when it takes over, the interesting aspect is this: it has stolen identity. While an intellect devourer uses body thief, he gains the ability to understand and speak all languages known by the host, as well as knowledge of the host's body ability, identity, role in society, and personality. However, it does not gain the specific memories or knowledge of the host's body. So you can pretty much still get away with somebody not knowing that the person has been taken over as long as they're not suspicious. But the interesting thing, from a role playing perspective, you can have the holy temple. You're bringing in your friend who died in an adventure to be raised, and the cleric takes him out back. And as long as he's only been dead for a day, the cleric brings him back, and he's all good. And you have a nice long potential adventure with the Temple of the Intellect Devourers.
Yes, that's or you go to a temple that you've never been before, but you know it's a good temple, and they say, "Oh yes, we'll resurrect your friend for a
Yeah,
fee."
yeah,
And then he comes like, "But I have to do this alone. It's a holy thing." You leave, and your guy comes back smiling, like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" And it's like, "Yeah, come back soon." And it's one of the, and it's been taken
yeah,
over by another intellect devourer. It's
yeah.
just scary. All right. To wrap up a little bit of this, how to recover from this particular attack. Um, the Pathfinder one is more of a if something is dead, it takes over and then reanimates him for a little while,
Right,
and it's great for. And it has enough. It has spells like Gentle Repose that prevents it from decaying. And even then, even if it doesn't know everything, um, this the skills of how charismatic and intelligent the Pathfinder one is, and then you also have deception and diplomacy, so we can get away
right.
with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
But for the fifth edition one, the danger of it is once there are two ways to get rid of the possessing intellect devourer. The first is to knock the body down to 0 hit points, in which case it runs away. It ejects itself and runs away. And the other is to cast a protection from evil, protection from good on the body, and it repels it. Wonderful. You're still left with a brainless body because the intellect devourer just ate it. So now you have to have someone cast a regeneration to regenerate the brain, and then because the intellect is still 0, a greater restoration.
yeah.
So this is beyond a second level party, obviously.
Yes.
So it's a danger even to high level parties, and that's what I was saying. This is a scary creature. It's not only unnatural looking, but its attack is absolutely, uh, dare I say, mind-boggling.
Yes, yes, and yeah, they really enhanced it significantly from the way it was in the past. Where in the past, certain party members did have an excuse that they wouldn't go after me. My intelligence is low because in the past it would only go against the most intelligent
True.
individuals because
Biggest
that's
brain.
lunch.
You're an hors d'oeuvre. You look at lunch. You're an hors d'oeuvre.
So,
You're low intelligence.
yes, yes, yes.
Uh,
But they did switch between the two systems, um, and really, I think enhanced it and made it a very interesting creature. Realistically, in comparison to both, even though they are significantly in power level different, I like both. I mean, this is another one of those monsters that I think are really good and very useful to the DM in both systems. So I there isn't a preference of one over the other for me at least.
they're both. I agree. They're both different types of monsters. Despite the fact they are the same, essentially the same creature,
Right.
there's different tactics to use. One's more infiltrator. The other one is more almost a lure, something to lure people in
Right.
for the short term into a trap because of its link to another creature, a mind flayer. Um,
Right.
the Pathfinder one is more like if this is the vanguard of invasion, oh crap, what's the
Right.
powerful versions or whatever else is coming.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
and they're both
Yeah.
like a very
So
alien looking. So and they're
right,
wonderful. They're wonderful creatures.
right. And yeah, this is one of the few creatures where I think in both systems it adds value, and you can have a very interesting short or long term campaign just around the Intellect Devourer
Yeah.
as an interaction.
There are many different scenarios other than just simply a monster to beat down. The
Right,
infiltration aspect is one. Just to name a few, the ambushing, all sorts of wonderful scenarios now open themselves up because of this.
right.
Okay, so
So
that's it for today for the Intellect Devourer. If you enjoyed our video, please hit the like, subscribe, hit the notification button if when you're ready to see more of our wonderful content.
yeah,
And this is Boredom Sated. I'm Michael.
I'm Boris. Have a good day.
Have a good day.